Hey everyone, I'm coming to share with you some tips that I have kind of learned while using the traditional Chebe powder. And just so you know, I use it very similar to how they use it over in Chad. So these tips relate to using it in that way. So just so you know, I don't mix my Chebe powder with the oil or a conditioner or anything like that and then apply it. I do in Chad, Africa, they dash the hair with water, they apply an oil, they apply the powder, and then they apply their grease product. And they do this either with a comb or with their hands. And that's what I do. I apply the Chebe, I spray my hair with water from a water bottle, work it through, apply some oil, work it through, grab some powder, work it through, and then I add the grease. So that's my process. So these tips relate to that. So my first tip is when using the oil, I suggest getting a thick oil, like the consistency of black castor oil or something a tad bit lighter. I wouldn't go any heavier than that, but I found that with using lighter oils that I don't get the same result as when I use a thicker oil. So I would suggest getting a thicker oil similar to black castor oil and use grease. So the traditional way of putting it on, they used to use like a fat type grease that they get from like cows and stuff like that, I believe. So you do need a thick grease as well. I've used the Super Grow grease. I've used pine tar, and now I'm using some Softy is the brand of grease. So I would suggest a grease, an actual grease, over like a leave-in conditioner or something that's like lotion consistency. I wouldn't suggest that because when I did that, it didn't give me the same result again. And plus, when you add like something, I guess because the conditioner is not meant to be in your hair as long as I've had it in my hair. So I've had better results with using grease. And my favorite one to use is pine tar. My next tip is when you're putting it on, like I said, I do it the traditional way. So therefore, I'm grabbing product, putting it in, so of course I'm going to have something fall down. So I would suggest putting a towel under you where you're going to be working, just so every time you get done, you can just take the towel, shake it out outside, and easy cleanup. The best way to clean your hands after applying the Chebe powder with all that grease and oil and stuff like that, your hands are going to be like black and gritty and greasy. Soap and water doesn't do the trick right off because there's so much of it on your hands. So I would suggest first getting like a paper towel or a washcloth, wiping your hands of as much as you can, and then getting something like a makeup remover or a baby wipe. I use baby wipe sometimes if the towel doesn't get enough off for me, and then wiping my hands like that, and then applying the soap and water to get the rest of the product off. So the next tip is when I apply the water, like I said, they use their hand and just like grab some water and whatever is on your hand, do it like that. The easiest way I found, of course, a spray bottle. I used an old bottle that I already had. People have suggested using the mister, which is a nice product to have. I didn't have it when I started, so I just used what I had. But any sort of spray bottle that can spray your hair will cut down your time, and it's easy to use. And then my last tip that I can think of right now is when you're picking your grease or your oil, get one that has a nice smell, because the Chebe powder does have like this kind of like ashy type smell or like a black and mild type smell. So if you want to kind of mask that smell initially, like I said, the smell does go away in like a day, but if you want to try to mask it even more, get a grease or your oil that has a smell to it, and it'll cut down on the strong smell of the Chebe powder. And when I say a scent, I don't mean like go get something that's like scented lavender or anything like that. I just mean like get an oil that has a natural smell to it, or a grease that kind of has like a more natural smell from the products that they use to put in it. Pine tar, that is my favorite grease to use. It does have a strong smell as well. So if the smell is really a big deal for you, don't get pine tar. I would suggest like the Super Grow Superfood grease. It's like a yellowy color with black little specks all in it. That one has like a pretty nice smell that masks pretty well. I think that's it as far as tips go. So I hope these tips were helpful if you're using it the traditional way. And I hope to see you guys next time.